Alright, we need to talk. Some of the oldest characters in Honkai Star Rail are not just falling off, they are already outdated. Units that are used to carry are now struggling even in their base teams. So let's get into who actually needs a Nova Flare, starting from 1.x to 2.x characters. Before that, please hit the like and subscribe button. Alright, let's get this video started. Let's just go with the 1.x characters. The first character that probably needs a Nova Flare is Jing Yuan. A lot of players were having so much fun making fun of this general. Even the nickname King Yuan is actually a satirical title. It's used because he holds high position, but ironically in the meta he turns out to be quite disappointing, to the point where people are not even mad anymore, they just laugh and turn it into a joke. The main issue with Jing Yuan is that he already feels like a finished character. There's basically no room left to expand or improve his kit in a meaningful way. The only thing they can really tweak at this point is his numbers. It was not a major upgrade, especially since he already had the summon mechanic, so he did not really benefit from things like Sunday buffs in any way. He already had that kind of synergy, and even with all of that, he still ends up being just mediocre. If you look at his team setup, it's already pretty much ideal. You've got Sunday, who is basically his best possible support. Then you've got Danheng PT as a sustain, which is not perfect, but still decent. And after that, what else can you even add to push Jing Yuan further? The third slot could be something like 3B or whatever, but it does not really change much. And the worst part is, his damage still falls behind compared to units like Acheron. So it's not even like he's close to competing at the top level. What he really needs is Nova Flare level upgrade. His eidolons are also pretty bad. Back then it felt like they did not really know what direction to take with him, so his upgrades ended up all over the place. So yeah, if anything, they just need to rework his eidolons, make them actually impactful, maybe give him a really strong Yuan, adjust his numbers, something like that. Next up is Luocha. Right now, Luocha's main strength is being a pure healer. On paper, that's actually a really solid niche, especially since Mayday's E2 scales with healing. So in theory, Luocha should fit perfectly into that kind of setup, but then you look at his eidolons, and they just don't really line up with that role. Especially the one that gives shields. It just feels out of place. Like, why is Luocha giving shields to the whole team? It does not really make sense for what he's supposed to do. The bigger issue though is that even with this strong healing niche, his numbers just are not high enough to keep up. If you actually look at Mayday's best in slot teams, they don't even use Luocha. Instead, you are seeing comps like Hysin with 3B and Cyrene, or Hysin with Seridra and Cyrene. And the reason is simple. Hysin is just a much stronger sustain overall in terms of raw numbers. Maybe things could change if they release a new DPS that scales purely off healing. But honestly, I doubt they will repeat the same design again. Characters like that already exist, and I think that's more than enough. We probably don't need more of that archetype. Next up is Imbibitor Lune. Honestly, it's getting harder to justify his existence when Archer is literally free. Archer just does the job better overall, so at this point, the simplest fix is just to buff Lune's numbers. Another idea is increasing his SP cap, how much skill points he can consume, so he has more room to scale in the future. That alone could help a lot. His eidolons also feel a bit off, especially E2. It's kind of awkward to use with his action advanced playstyle. Maybe turning it into extra turn instead would feel smoother. Nothing too crazy, just some adjustments to make his eidolons flow better. Next up is Fusion. Her biggest issue is that she does not really belong to any specific team right now, and ever since Danheng PT came out and it's free, her role just keeps getting pushed out more and more. Even as a last 50-50 unit, she does not feel like a safety net anymore, because the free options straight up outclass her. Honestly, she just needs something extra, either give her more damage or double down on her tankiness and utility. Even better, add more supportive value. It does not really matter which direction they choose, just make her actually feel like the best in slot for at least one team. And we have Topaz. Right now, she basically does not have a role anymore. She's been pushed out again and again. First by Cypher, before that by Moze, which is a 4-star, and even earlier by March 7, since now that break teams are actually strong again, March is kind of taking her spot once more. Maybe they could tweak her kit a little so that every couple of attacks automatically triggers Nambi, something like every 2 hits maybe. That alone would save her energy issues and smooth out a lot of problems in her kit. At this point, she really needs a Nova Flare level upgrade. The last character in 1.x that needs to be having their Nova Flare is Dr. Ratio. Right now, he just feels like a worse version of Fei Xiao in pretty much every aspect. The only thing he had going for him was being free, but honestly, people don't even factor that in anymore. At this point, he really needs a Nova Flare. He comes with too many drawbacks for the kind of results he gives, especially when compared to Fei Xiao. There's not much room left to tweak him without a major upgrade, so I think a Nova Flare feels almost necessary. And let's talk about the 2.x characters, who desperately need a buff. Next is Acheron. Her numbers just are not holding up anymore. You could argue she used to sit in that team-dependent tier alongside units like Fei Xiao and the Herta, but that's not really the case anymore. Her peak was back when she outperformed every Nihility unit. At that time, Nihility supports were weak, but Acheron herself was strong, which made her incredibly valuable. But things have changed. HP scaling has gone up, and now we actually have strong Nihility support like Cypher and the updated Silver Wolf. And that's where the issue with Acheron, especially at E2, starts to show. Those Nihility supports are now so valuable that they are better used on other teams, instead of being tied to weaker DPS like Acheron. Even at E2, running something like Cypher plus Silver Wolf does not feel that much better compared to other setups, like Cypher paired with Sunday for example. And that's a big problem, because one of Acheron's main advantage used to be how well she could utilize Nihility supports without much downside. Now she's stuck in a weird spot. She benefited from a meta where Nihility supports were weak, but now they are strong, she's kind of left behind. I would not say she's completely fallen off yet, but she's getting dangerously close. Next is Adventuring. He used to be OP, but he's still not perfect. One of his main issues is the lack of strong synergy with other units. His best partners are usually someone like Robin or 3B, but even then the synergy is not anything crazy. If you compare him to other modern sustain units, the difference becomes pretty clear. Hyacinth works instantly well with 3B or even with Cyrene and Evernight depending on the setup. Danhan PT has great synergy with Sunday, even if Sunday is not always the absolute best in slot. Lingsha at least synergizes with Super Break supports through her damage, even if it's not as strong as going sustainless. Aventurine on the other hand does not really have that kind of standout energy. There's nothing in his kit that pushes him far ahead as the definitive best sustain, especially in terms of contributing damage. And that's probably because of his original design. He's meant to be more of a sub DPS shielder. That's what he was on release, but because of that, his personal damage ends up feeling a bit underwhelming now. To be fair, this could get fixed if you ever get a shield scaling DPS or something that directly benefits from his kit. Overall, it still feels like he has some inherent kit issues holding him back. Next is our male Pink Fox, Zhao Qiu. He's just not good. Not terrible, but he does not really have a place in the current game unless he's E2. And even then, while E2 is strong, it's not enough compared to something like 3B E1. What he brings is vulnerability, increased ultimate damage taken, and stacks for Acheron. He also provides general debuffs, which sound nice, but not many characters really benefit from that. His kit was clearly designed for Acheron and it worked for a while. But now we have Cypher, Silver Wolf buffs, and plenty of other options that just do the job better. The only place he really shines now is Pure Fiction. Every enemy hitting this zone gives Acheron stacks, which helps her generate more ultimates. Outside of that though, he just does not do enough. His damage is low and his damage amplification is weaker compared to other options. It's actually kind of wild. He's a Nihility character being outperformed by other Nihility units, and even Harmony characters. Like, why is 3B better at his job? Right now he just does not have much value if you are running optimized teams. That's why if you ever go to the shop or the Golden Companion Spirit, it actually makes sense for him. For newer players without units like 3B, Silver Wolf, or Cypher, Zhao Qiu can still provide decent value. A 35% vulnerability is solid, and his signature light count adds even more. So while he's underwhelming overall, he's still useful for early accounts. That's why I can see him getting a Nova Flare. He probably deserves a buff, but I don't think it's coming anytime soon. And even if he does get buffed, I could still see him going into the Golden Companion shop, just like Hua Hua did. Honestly, he's just in a rough spot right now. Hopefully he either gets buffed or finds some use again. The last one I think is Fugue. Fugue is basically an enabler for Super Break teams. The thing is, Dahlia is almost mandatory if you want those teams to actually function. On top of that, you already have a free Harmony MC, and Ranmei is also in the shop. And she is another unit that works incredibly well with Super Break. So yeah, buffing Fugue would make sense a little, since she is the second best in slot for break teams, but at the same time, there are times when you need her. For example, if you are running Boot Hill, Fugue feels almost mandatory. You really want her there, but if you are running something like Firefly, Dahlia becomes way more important, and Fugue, while still strong, does not bring quite as much in comparison. Compared to Dahlia, her kit is starting to feel a bit lacking, especially for someone who's supposed to be the second most important unit in a Super Break team. Like, why does her enhanced basic attack still barely do anything, and her personal buffs are pretty minimal too? The main thing she brings is her unique exo toughness mechanic, and to be fair, that part is really strong. As for the 3.x characters, I don't think this is the right time for them getting NOVAFLARE. Someone like the Herta might only have issues with single enemies. Units like Mayday maybe only suffers from team issue. And Aglaia, she's really dependent on either her E1 or Cyrene to function well, but I guess they won't need a complete rework kit, at least for now. So that's all for today's video. So are you guys agree those are the characters that needed to be buffed for the next NOVAFLARE? Or maybe you have some characters in mind that I have not yet mentioned? Please comment down below. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notification as well so you won't miss out on any of my Star Rail content. I will see you guys on my next one. Bye bye!